Hello?
Yes.
Okay, so first I'd like to thank you for taking my call today so we can do this.
Oh, my pleasure, Matthew.
And what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask you first a few questions about you personally, and we're going to get to a few state issues, and then we'll end it with a couple federal questions, and we'll end it there. Sound good?
Okay.
All right, so my first question is my general question. What is it that made you want to get into politics and become a politician?
Well, I ran for elective office to serve the people of our state, and my particular issues were relating to education. I was teaching at Shea at the time, and particularly driver's ed and driver's safety, because I had lost quite a few students to car accidents, teenagers, and felt that we could improve our teen licensing statutes.
Oh, and do you think that thus far you've been doing a good job based on trying to help out the Rhode Island people on issues such as that?
Yes.
And you are also the chairman of the House Committee on Health, Education, and Welfare. What are your usual daily duties? What do you do as a chairman?
Well, the committee, legislators submit bills. They're referred by the speaker and his staff to various committees based on the subject of the bill. What we do is spend time arranging those bills, and we try to arrange hearings by the subject matter so that witnesses that are interested in, say, one bill dealing with, say, vaccines might also be interested in other legislation that addresses similar issues. So we set the schedule for that. We review the legislation before the hearing and then conduct the hearings. And when we vote bills out on the floor, usually as chair, I will, what they call, manage the bill on the floor. What does that mean? It means brief explanation and handle any questions relating to the legislation.
Okay. And I also researched that you are also the chairman of the Rhode Island Democratic Party, correct?
Correct.
And what do you usually do as the chairman of that particular organization? What do you do as the chair of the party?
Well, currently I direct our small staff and participate in many of the committees. We have an LGBTQ committee, an ABLE committee. We're starting a veterans committee. We have platform committees. So we have a variety of committees that are running simultaneously, as well as informing the general public as to what the Democratic Party is doing, who's running, supporting candidates such as Senator Sandra Cando, who was just elected in Pawtucket, and working on those campaigns and gearing up for 2018, the election.
All right. Also, it says that you recently introduced, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, the Neil Fashon?
Yeah, Neil Fashon Right to Try Act.
And,
yep.
Oh, no, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to explain the bill.
Well, what I was going to ask you is if you would be able to tell me more about the bill. And
yes. So Neil Fashon was an 18-year-old college, Northeastern University sophomore, going into his sophomore year, and he was diagnosed with a fatal form of brainstem cancer. So the doctors told him he had 3 months to live, that he'd go through traditional radiation, which might extend his life a month or two. And Neil researched it, went online like anyone would do faced with that horrific diagnosis, and found an individual who participated in a clinical trial of a new drug in Houston, and this individual had been alive for a period of 2 years. And he was living in Argentina at the time. Neil spoke with him via Skype and ended up enrolling in that program. And after having a positive reaction to the drug for about 6 months, the FDA, it was a phase 3 clinical trial, which is the last trial a drug will go through before FDA approval. The FDA stopped the trial, and he was literally left hanging. So he hired an attorney by the name of Kathy Haggerty of Warwick, who took the FDA to court and said basically his due process rights had been violated, and they prevailed. But by the time he got back onto the drug, it was 6 months later, and he had debilitated significantly and ended up dying.
And what are some more of the exact details of the bill?
What the bill does is it allows anyone with a fatal diagnosis to participate in a clinical phase 3, any phase 3 trial.
And do you think this is something that's going to be able to get through the committee and through the House?
It will be no problem getting through the House. I'm less optimistic about the Senate.
Why so?
I know there was some resistance there in the past. No one has articulated exactly what it is, but because it exempts these drug companies from liability in the phase 3 trial, some attorneys don't like it that malpractice medicine because they can't sue them.
Oh, well, another issue
that's one of the groups that is opposed to it.
Oh, right. But one of the other big issues that I wanted to get your input on is the big problems that have been going on with UHIP. And I wanted to ask you what you think needs to be done to prevent the federal government from taking away funding for our state's food stamp program.
First of all, the governor stated today that if the federal government has any penalties based on the performance of this system, those penalties will be paid by UHIP. Clearly, they have failed in their duties, and it's just a horrific situation that was rolled out horribly.
So, what would happen was UHIP would be paying for the fines, but what needs to be changed with UHIP specifically in order for us to never have had paid these fines? What should have been done differently?
What it should have been done differently is before they switched to this online system, like any other, it's like the online grading at a school like St. Ray's. Before you implement it, the day before the grades are due or the report cards are due to be sent home, you have a dry run where you use your paper grading system as well as the online grading system, run them simultaneously, and then once the online version is working, you back off the paper system. Those protocols were not followed with the rollout of this system, and that's part of the problem.
Okay, I don't want to run too far over our time limit, but I do want to ask you one question in regards to federal government.
Yes.
So what I wanted to ask you about is, this is more of a big two-part question, sort of. First off, what are your general thoughts on the administration of President Trump? And the second part is, what are your thoughts on everything that's been going on recently with the raid of Michael Cohen's office and the newest segment on 60 Minutes with James Comey?
First of all, I agree with James Comey. It wasn't a raid on his office. It was a duly authorized search warrant that was issued by federal judges. When the FBI executes a search warrant, they don't, unless there's dangerous weapons behind the door, they don't bust in or blow the door off the hinges. They're polite. They serve the duly authorized warrant, and they get the materials they need. So the terminology raid is not really acceptable in my eyes. We have a Constitution that protects the rights and liberties of everyone. It was a duly executed search warrant authorized by a federal judge. I feel as though the administration has really failed. And its moral authority is zero. The president and his administration have embarrassed us across the world, and it is going to take years to rebuild our reputation as one of the leaders of the free world and a nation that is respected by other nations. The president is an embarrassment and continues to dig a deeper hole every day for himself. Unfortunately, he doesn't have anyone in his staff, or seems to be firing the people that tried to control his behavior, specifically with Twitter. A week ago, he telegraphed the airstrikes in Syria, letting our enemies know what we were planning ahead of time. Totally unprecedented, and I just hope that our nation recovers quickly when his term is up.
Well, I agree, and I want to thank you for giving me the time here today to speak with you in regards to these questions. I appreciate it.
Well, very good. Thank you, Matthew, and best of luck to you and certainly your classmates at St. Ray's. And what year are you in, Matthew?
I am a senior. I will be graduating in a couple months and going off to Bryant.
Very good. My brother graduated from Bryant, and he loved accounting. He taught for a couple of years, and then he opened up several international businesses and was extremely successful. But it was all big. What's your major going to be at Bryant?
Well, when I applied, I put undecided, but my plan is to go for political science.
Oh, good. Good.
That's the plan, but we'll see. I want to minor. I think I can do a double minor or something. I'm thinking maybe minoring in entrepreneurship and communications.
Yeah, you seem to have a knack for communications. That's good. Very good. Well, best of luck and congratulations. Bryant University is a great school, and I'm sure your parents are pleased that you're going to be relatively close by, right?
Oh, yeah. I live in Pawtucket, so it's only like a 20-minute drive. It's pretty close.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for your time, and best of luck in the future, Matthew.
Thank you, too, and I'm sure I'll see you around the State House.
Okay, very good. Thanks a lot. Yep, bye.
Bye.